Welcome to this video on how self-concept and social identity develop in students. Before we talk about how to teach students, we need to understand something more fundamental: who they think they are, and how that belief came to be. We do not simply know who we are. We learn who we are by observing how others perceive us. And for the students in your classroom, you are one of the most important mirrors they have. Now let's explore this concept in more detail. Identity has two parts: the internal spark, or self-awareness, and the social construct, or self-concept. Self-awareness is the internal spark. It's the moment a child realizes that their body, their thoughts, and their actions are distinctly their own and separate from everyone else's. Remarkably, this emerges between 15 and 24 months of age. We measure it with something called the Rouge test. A dot of red dye is placed on a toddler's nose, and when they look in a mirror and touch their own nose, not the mirror, we know they recognize themselves. But self-awareness alone is just the raw material. Self-concept is something more complex. It's the overarching story of who we are, and it's inherently social. It requires continuous interaction with others to develop and sustain. Over time, children shift from a physical self, I have red hair, I am tall, to a remembered self shaped by shared family stories, and eventually to a social self defined by their place within groups. Each stage builds on the last. Pioneers like Cooley, Mead, Erikson, and Tajfel offered foundational theories on identity formation. Charles Cooley gave us the concept of the looking glass self. His core idea: we form our self-image by imagining how others see us, and then internalizing that judgment. In the classroom, this means teacher feedback, even a casual comment, can permanently alter a student's self-image. George Herbert Mead explored the tension between two parts of the self: the I, our spontaneous, creative, unfiltered impulse, and the me, the socially aware self that knows the rules and adjusts accordingly. Students are constantly navigating this tension, testing boundaries to learn what's acceptable. Erik Erikson showed us that identity develops through a series of crises, moments of genuine psychological conflict that must be resolved. For adolescents, the central challenge is identity versus role confusion. Students need safe environments to try on different versions of themselves, without shame. And Henri Tajfel revealed the power of the group. We form and protect our identities partly by belonging to groups, and by distinguishing our group favorably from others. This is why cliques form naturally in schools, and why teachers need to intentionally engineer collaboration across those divides. Identity development follows a timeline. From birth to about age 2, children are in the physical self stage. Their entire sense of self comes from how caregivers respond to them. Trust, warmth, and consistent attention are the building blocks, long before any academic content enters the picture. From 3 to 5 years old, children develop a categorical self. They describe themselves through concrete, observable traits. I have red hair. I'm a girl. I'm the big sister. Early social emotions, pride, shame, embarrassment, begin to emerge, always in response to adult reactions. Between 7 and 11 years old, something shifts. Children begin comparing themselves to their peers, rather than relying on absolute self-assessments. The exaggerated, I'm the best, gives way to a more nuanced, comparative self-evaluation. This is when the gap between the ideal self and the real self begins to open, and when academic confidence can become fragile. Finally, from 12 to 18, adolescents enter what we might call the identity crucible. Abstract thinking kicks in, allowing teenagers to contemplate hypothetical versions of themselves, to explore multiple roles, and to wrestle with questions like, who am I when no one is watching? George Herbert Mead described the self as having two components that exist in constant dialogue. The I is the raw, spontaneous self, the creative impulse that acts before it thinks, untethered from social concern. It's the child who blurts out an answer without raising their hand, or the teenager who tries on an unusual identity just to see how it feels. The me is the social self, the part that has learned the rules, internalized the expectations of the community, and filters behavior accordingly. The me knows what the classroom culture rewards and punishes. Mead also described how children develop this filter through 2 stages. In the play stage, young children mimic specific, meaningful people, a parent, a teacher. In the game stage, older children develop a broader understanding of the generalized other, the rules of the whole social system, not just one person's preferences. What does this mean for you as an educator? Every student is performing a negotiation between their authentic impulse and their socialized self. When the classroom culture is rigid or punishing, students suppress the I entirely, and with it, often their creativity, their curiosity, and their willingness to take intellectual risks. Here's something every teacher in a diverse classroom needs to understand: there is no universal self. In individualistic cultures, broadly associated with Western and North American contexts, identity is organized around personal achievement, unique traits, and independence. A child from this background will naturally describe themselves as, I am smart. I am good at art. The individual is the primary unit. Society is a backdrop. In collectivistic cultures, broadly associated with Asian, African, and South American traditions, identity is organized around relationships, roles, and group belonging. The same "who are you" question might be answered with, I am my parents' child. I am a good student. Here, conformity isn't a threat to authenticity. It's an affirmation of harmony. Neither framework is superior, but they lead to fundamentally different ways of reasoning, different responses to praise and criticism, and different ways of building a self-image. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this information helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel to get alerts when new videos are available. Thank you.